Take a look at NRGV, guys, pushing all the way beyond 4. Let's go. All right, I'm just about to get rolling, team. Hold on just a sec. Guys, I can't tell you what to do. I know that I have 465 in line. I can't tell you what to do, but at these moments, reaching the targets of 413, we just hit 410. It would be completely up to you to either leave runners or leave the whole position, do as you will. But I'm just here to warn you that these are targets that I spoke of just yesterday in last night's thread of analysis for the video that we put out for the team. And these would be the short-term areas to take profit. This kind of thrust feels like it would go to 465, guys. I'm not sure if one day. I don't think so. Anything can happen in the markets, right? But we are there. We are just about there, guys. This is literally 99% your move from what we spoke of last night before it got here. So for those of you that did follow the play, congratulations. I'm very happy for you. And I hope that we can keep on killing it together, team. Let's go. Getting this camera started. Here we go. Ninja, I got you, buddy. We'll take a look at NVTS as well. That was that Navitas from yesterday, right?
Arca, if you're speaking, your mic's off.
No, guys, I don't have it on.
Cyber. Jimmy.
Lex,
Cyber.
what's going on, my man?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, enjoying the Bears' victory last night.
Are you really? You're not, what's going on with, you're not scouting any baseball players or anything like that?
I do more stuff behind the scenes anymore.
How about the Mariners?
Surprising. Very surprised.
3 dogs last night, the 2 football dogs and the Mariners, right?
Yeah, I noticed that. Crazy.
That was a good play.
Doing a lot more in-game wagers now while I'm watching.
Oh, yeah, the live plays. They're hard, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're easy, but sometimes it looks so good for you, and then out of nowhere a team will score, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I think the NFL is choreographed. I can't even bet it anymore. It's just so choreographed.
Yeah, those lines are shady.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say hello to you, man. See how you're doing.
Doing well.
Okay?
Doing well. Getting ready
Did
for
you see?
a little vacation.
What about Charlie Oliveira? You see him the other night?
No, I did not.
Oh, he kicked ass, bro.
What does UFC have coming up?
Shit, I don't. I really have to. I'm getting to the age where my memory is real good, but it's real bad. But I just remember. I thought maybe you watched the other night. He did unbelievable. Oliveira, unbelievable.
I think I
Choked
was going on during one of the baseball games.
What's that?
I think I was going on during one of the baseball nights.
Yeah. He choked out Gamrot right at the one round.
I thought there was something coming up in November that was supposed to be pretty good. I don't remember the card. I need to go back and take a look.
Yeah, I haven't. And then in January, they lost their contract, so it's going to be on Paramount Plus with no.
Seriously?
No pay-per-views. Paramount Plus paid eight. I think $8 billion for the contract. And I don't think they're going to charge you a pay-per-view anymore. You just got to be a member of Paramount Plus.
Yeah, that's kind of the way everyone's migrating toward that.
Yeah, I don't think people could afford it like it was. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They must have seen a drop in viewership. But
just a matter of time before Paramount Plus and like Prime Video, all these companies start adding live wagering in their system.
Yeah, you're
so you
right.
do it on TV. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, you're right. All right, I want to say hello. I don't want to hold Arca up. Okay,
All right.
You'd be cool. Thanks for everything, bro.
You get ready for hockey season.
I'm ready. I'm in. I'll see you, dude. Be good.
Right.
God bless you, man. I'll talk to you.
Drop the gloves.
Bye. Yep, you got it.
Later.
Bye, buddy.
Now then. Chat pops in every now and again, Dea, to the wagering area, wagering room. Says he's doing good. What time does Pal speak? Arca, Powell is speaking in 2 minutes.
Do you know the real reason behind memory lapse?
Reserve banks totaled $3 trillion. These deposits allow commercial banks to make and receive payments and meet regulatory requirements. Reserves are the safest and most liquid asset in the financial system, and only the Fed can create them. The adequate provision of reserves is essential to the safety and soundness of our banking system, the resilience and efficiency of our payment system, and ultimately the stability of our economy. Third is the Treasury General Account, or TGA, currently at about $800 billion, which is essentially the checking account for the federal government. When the Treasury makes or receives payments, those flows affect dollar for dollar the supply of reserves or other liabilities in the system. The asset side of our ledger consists almost entirely of securities, including $4.2 trillion of U.S. Treasury securities and $2.1 trillion of government-guaranteed agency mortgage-backed securities, or MBS. When we add reserves to the system, we generally do so by purchasing Treasury securities in the open market and crediting the reserve accounts of the banks involved in the transaction with the seller. This process effectively transforms securities held by the public into reserves, but does not change the total amount of government liabilities held by the public. So, the Fed's balance sheet serves as a critical policy tool, especially when the policy rate is constrained by the effective lower bound, or ELB. When COVID-19 struck in March 2020, the economy came to a near standstill and financial markets seized up, threatening to transform a public health crisis into a severe, prolonged economic downturn. In response, we established a number of emergency liquidity facilities. Those programs, supported at the time by Congress and the administration, provided critical support to markets and were remarkably effective in restoring confidence and stability. At their peak in July 2020, loans from these facilities totaled just over $200 billion. Most of these loans were quickly unwound as conditions stabilized. At the same time, the market for U.S. Treasury securities, normally the deepest and most liquid market in the world and the bedrock of the global financial system, was under extraordinary pressure and on the verge of collapse. We used large-scale purchases of securities to restore functionality to the Treasury market. Faced with unprecedented market dysfunction, the Fed purchased Treasury and agency securities at an extraordinary pace in March and April of 2020. These purchases supported the flow of credit to households and businesses and fostered more accommodative financial conditions to support the recovery of the economy when it ultimately came. This source of policy accommodation was particularly important as we had already lowered the federal funds rate close to zero and expected that it would remain there for some time. By June 2020, we slowed our purchase pace to a still substantial $120 billion per month. And in December of 2020, as the economic outlook remained highly uncertain, the FOMC said that we expected to maintain that pace of purchases until substantial further progress has been made toward the committee's maximum employment and price stability goals. That guidance provided assurance that the Fed would not prematurely withdraw support while the economic recovery remained fragile amid unprecedented conditions. And we maintained that pace of asset purchases through October 2021. By then, it had become apparent that elevated inflation was not likely to go away without a strong monetary response. At our meeting in November 2021, we announced a phase-out of our purchases, and at our next meeting in December, we doubled the pace of that taper and said that asset purchases would...
From hoses to hand tools, lighting to ladders, Grainger has the right stuff right when you need it, so you can fix, build, maintain, and more.
Of purchases, our securities holdings increased by $4.6 trillion. So, a number of observers have raised questions, fairly enough, about the size and composition of asset purchases during the pandemic recovery. Throughout 2020 and 21, the economy continued to face significant challenges as successive waves of COVID caused widespread disruption and loss. During that tumultuous period, we continued to purchase in order to avoid a sharp, unwelcome tightening of financial conditions at a time when the economy still appeared to be highly vulnerable. Our thinking was, was informed by recent episodes in which signals about reducing the balance sheet had triggered significant tightening in financial conditions, and we were thinking of the events of December 2018 as well as the 2013 taper tantrum. Regarding the composition of our purchases, some have questioned the inclusion of agency MBS purchases given the strong housing market during the pandemic recovery. Outside of purchases aimed specifically at market functioning, MBS purchases are primarily intended, like our purchases of Treasury securities, to ease broader financial conditions when the policy rate is constrained by the effective lower bound. The extent to which these MBS purchases disproportionately affected housing market conditions during that period is challenging to determine. Many factors affect the mortgage market, and many factors beyond the mortgage market affect supply and demand in the broader housing market. With the clarity of hindsight, we could have, and perhaps should have, stopped asset purchases sooner. Our real-time decisions were intended to serve as insurance against downside risks. We knew that we could unwind purchases relatively quickly once we ended them, which is exactly what we did. Research and experience tell us that asset purchases affect the economy through expectations regarding the future size and duration of our balance sheet, so that when we announced our taper, market participants began pricing in its effects, pulling forward the tightening in financial conditions. Stopping sooner could have made some difference, but not likely enough to fundamentally alter the trajectory of the economy. Nonetheless, our experience since 2020 does suggest that we can be more nimble in our use of the balance sheet and more confident that our communications will foster appropriate expectations among market participants, given their growing experience with these tools. Some have also argued that we could have better explained the purpose of asset purchases in real time. There's always room for improved communication, but I believe our statements were reasonably clear about our objectives, which were to support and then sustain smooth market functioning and to help foster accommodative financial conditions. Over time, the relative importance of those objectives evolved with economic conditions, but the objectives were never in conflict. So at the time, this issue appeared to be a distinction without much of a difference. That's not always the case, of course. For example, the March 2023 banking stress led to a sizable increase in our balance sheet through lending operations. We clearly differentiated these financial stability operations from our monetary policy stance. Indeed, we continued to raise the policy rate through that time. Turning to my second topic, pardon me. Our ample reserves regime has proven highly effective, delivering good control of our policy rate across a wide range of challenging economic conditions, while promoting financial stability and supporting a resilient payment system. In this framework, an ample supply of reserves ensures adequate liquidity in the banking system, and control of our policy rate is achieved through the setting of our administered rates, interest on reserve balances, and the overnight repurchase rate. Reverse repo rate, rather. This approach allows us to maintain rate control independently of the size of our balance sheet. And that's important given large unpredictable swings in liquidity demand from the private sector and significant fluctuations in the autonomous factors affecting reserve supply, such as the TGA. This framework has proved resilient whether the balance sheet is shrinking or growing. Since June 2022, we've reduced the size of our balance sheet by $2.2 trillion, from 35% to just under 22% of GDP, while maintaining effective interest rate control. Our long-stated plan is to stop balance sheet runoff when reserves are somewhat above the level we judge consistent with ample reserves conditions. We may approach that point in coming months, and we are closely monitoring a wide range of indicators to inform this decision. Some signs have begun to emerge that liquidity conditions are gradually tightening, including a general firming of repo rates, along with more noticeable but temporary pressures on selected dates. The committee's plans lay out a deliberately cautious approach to avoid the kind of money market strains experienced in September 2019. Moreover, the tools of our implementation framework, including the standing repo facility and the discount window, will help contain funding pressures and keep the federal funds rate within our target range through this transition to lower reserve levels. Normalizing the size of our balance sheet does not mean going back to the balance sheet we had before the pandemic. In the longer run, the size of our balance sheet is determined by the public's demand for our liabilities rather than by our pandemic-related asset purchases. Non-reserve liabilities currently stand about $1.1 trillion higher than just prior to the pandemic, thus requiring that our securities holdings be equally higher. Demand for reserves has risen as well, in part reflecting the growth of the banking system and the overall economy. Regarding the composition of our securities portfolio, relative to the outstanding universe of Treasury securities, our portfolio is currently overweight longer-term securities and underweight shorter-term securities. The longer-run composition will be a topic of committee discussion. Transition to our desired composition will occur gradually and predictably, giving market participants time to adjust and minimizing the risk of market disruption. Consistent with our longstanding guidance, we aim for a portfolio consisting primarily of Treasury securities over the longer run. Some have questioned whether the interest we pay on reserves is costly to taxpayers. In fact, that is not the case. The Fed earns interest income from Treasury securities that back reserves. Most of the time, our interest earnings from Treasury holdings more than cover the interest paid on reserves, generating significant remittances to the Treasury. By law, we remit all profits to the Treasury after covering expenses. And since 2008, even after accounting for the recent period of negative net income, our total remittances to Treasury have totaled more than $900 billion. While our net interest income has temporarily been negative due to the rapid rise in policy rates to control inflation, this is highly unusual. Our net income will soon turn positive again, as it typically has been throughout our history. Of course, having negative net income has no bearing at all on our ability to conduct monetary policy or meet our financial obligations. If our ability to pay interest on reserves and other liabilities were eliminated, the Fed would lose control over rates. The stance of monetary policy would no longer be appropriately calibrated to economic conditions and would push the economy away from our employment and price stability goals. To restore rate control, large sales of securities over a short period of time would be needed to shrink our balance sheet and the quantity of reserves in the system. The volume and speed of these sales could strain Treasury market functioning and compromise financial stability. Market participants would need to absorb the sales of Treasury securities and agency MBS, which would put upward pressure on the entire yield curve, raising borrowing costs for the Treasury and private sector. Even after that volatile and disruptive process, the banking system would be less resilient and more vulnerable to liquidity shocks. The bottom line is that our ample reserves regime has proven remarkably effective for implementing monetary policy and supporting economic and financial stability. So I will close with a brief discussion of the economy and the outlook for monetary policy. Although some important government data have been delayed due to the shutdown, we routinely review a wide variety of public and private sector data that have remained available. We also maintain a nationwide network of contacts through the reserve banks who provide valuable insights which will be summarized in tomorrow's Beige Book. Based on the data we do have, it's fair to say that the outlook for employment and inflation does not appear to have changed much since our September meeting 4 weeks ago. Data available prior to the shutdown, however, show that growth in economic activity may be on a somewhat firmer trajectory than expected. While the unemployment rate remained low through August, payroll gains have slowed sharply, likely in part due to a decline in labor force growth due to lower immigration and lower labor force participation. In this less dynamic and somewhat softer labor market, the downside risks to employment appear to have risen. While official employment data for September are delayed, available evidence suggests that both layoffs and hiring remain low, and that both households' perceptions of job availability and firms' perceptions of hiring difficulty continue their downward trajectories. Meanwhile, 12-month core PCE inflation was 2.9% in August, up slightly from earlier this year, as rising core goods inflation has outpaced continued disinflation in housing services. Available data and surveys continue to show that goods price increases primarily reflect tariffs rather than broader inflationary pressures. Consistent with these effects, near-term inflation expectations have generally increased this year, while most longer-term expectation measures remain aligned with our 2% goal. Rising downside risks to employment have shifted our assessment of the balance of risks. As a result, we judged it appropriate to take another step toward a more neutral policy stance at our September meeting. There is no risk-free path for policy as we navigate the tension between our employment and inflation goals. This challenge was evident in the dispersion of committee participants' projections at the September meeting. And I'll stress again that these projections should be understood as representing a range of potential outcomes whose probabilities evolve as new information informs our meeting-by-meeting approach to policymaking. We'll set policy based on the evolution of the economic outlook and the balance of risks rather than following a predetermined path. And with that, thank you again for this wonderful award and for inviting me here today. I look forward to our discussion. Thank you.
Do you need your iPad or no?
No, I didn't get that.
Thank you, Chair Powell, for the excellent remarks in the Adam Smith address, and we will have about half an hour for questions. So
sounds like a long time.
Should have talked longer. So let me start with, before I go to some of the questions coming in from the audience, and do use the Connect app to generate those. You have said, and you repeated again here, that there are no risk-free paths for the Fed now. So in light of that, and in particular with where the recent inflation data are running, let me group this with some of the questions that we're seeing coming in on the app as well. Obviously, always data dependent, but thinking about the dual mandate of maximum employment and price stability, how concerned are you that the if the rate of pass-through of tariffs is slower, that might begin to look like more persistent inflation as opposed to a one-time, as if the tariff adjustment came through all at once, and then it would be quite clearly a one-time price level shift.
So that's certainly a risk. You know, as I mentioned, there really isn't a risk-free path now, since it appears that inflation is certainly running above our target, and appears to be continuing to increase quite gradually, but increase. It's still on the way up. So there's a risk there that would lend to greater persistence. But now the labor market has demonstrated pretty significant downside risks as payroll jobs have declined, and you know, both the supply and demand for labor has declined quite sharply. So, you know, those two states of affairs for our two goal variables, call for different monetary policy responses. So, as they come more into balance, I think the idea has been that policy should move from being, you know, tight to some degree to being more neutral as those two things balance out. But it is clear, though, that, you know, if we move too quickly, then we may leave the inflation job unfinished and have to come back later and finish it. And if we move too slowly, there may be unnecessary losses, painful losses in the employment market. So we're in the difficult situation of balancing those two things. I think for the last few months, we've been able to maintain a restrictive stance because the labor market was still pretty solid. I think that the data we got right after the July meeting showed that, which adjusted back all the way through May, showed that the labor market has actually softened pretty considerably and puts us in a situation where the two risks are closer to being in balance.
Let's move to the other risk then and talk about employment a little bit. We had Anna Paulson here yesterday, and she spoke about the break-even unemployment or break-even employment growth rate. And that's a question from the audience as well. So I believe she said that it's certainly lower than it was, and the standard error around those estimates probably includes some numbers that might even be negative. Where do you see the monthly break-even employment growth rate at this point?
I'm not going to try to give you a pinpoint number, but as you pointed out, the standard error around these things is, you know, 50,000 plus or minus, something like that. And, you know, that would certainly, I think the range of plausible numbers for the break-even rate is probably does go below zero, accounting for those standard errors. It's clearly come down a great deal, and that's what's so challenging about this is that both supply and demand in the labor market have come down so sharply, so quickly, and the fact that the unemployment rate has barely moved is kind of remarkable in and of itself, and suggests that they're moving at roughly the same pace, although, of course, the unemployment rate has ticked up, which suggests that demand is moving a little faster than supply. I wouldn't want to point to a specific number other than to say that it's come way down. And there are many, many estimates out there. By the way, there are many ways to calculate it, so you're going to get different estimates.
We're certainly in a volatile and changing environment. So one question I have is whether you see any changes in the transmission mechanism of monetary policy actions. So when we speak of long and variable lags, as we do, are those changing? And in particular, do you think there might be any difference in the impacts of policy on inflation versus employment? Is one changing more than the other?
That's like 2 or 3 questions, so I might have to come back to you. That's all right. So on transmission, you know, there, in theory at least, I see 2 things. One is, you know, what we say and the actions that we take on monetary policy and how quickly that gets into financial markets. So if you go back to when I was in college, that part would have taken, you know, weeks, months probably. And now that part happens essentially instantaneously. But the rest of it, you know, once it's in the financial markets, how quickly does it affect economic activity, unemployment, employment, inflation, et cetera? You know, I think that's more dependent on the conditions in the economy. For example, if you take the group of people who had extremely low rate mortgages, right? And even so, if you can cut rates, but they're a long way down, and they're sort of in a place where it's going to be expensive to move and to take out a much higher rate mortgage, even assuming significant numbers of cuts. So that has probably blunted the transmission of lower rates into that part of the economy. But overall, I think it still works the way we think it works, which is, long and variable lags means a lot of uncertainty.
Hercules 20-volt brushless power tools have power, durability, and versatility with the
Lore has been that inflation and employment come later. The first decisions are purchasing decisions, hiring decisions, and things. Well, purchasing decisions, can be affected probably more quickly. But then those would eventually affect employment and inflation. So longer lags are, the research generally shows longer and longer lags for employment and inflation.
Right, and I guess the variable part of that comment does give us a bit of cover.
A lot of uncertainty.
So you spoke about the adjustments or the challenges that you're facing with some government data not currently being published. Beyond the headline unemployment rate, which we're not going to see right away, what other labor market indicators are you monitoring most closely to gauge that side of the mandate?
So I think everyone's looking at the same non-government data. So there's a set of non-government data around, or non-federal government data around labor markets. For example, state level unemployment, claim reports. You can add those up and get a pretty decent estimate, and that's a really good one. There's also ADP has its data in employment. So in the employment space, there's some plausible data. I will say generally, the private data, the alternative data that we look at, is better used as a supplement for the underlying governmental data, which is the gold standard, and it won't be as effective as the main course as it would have been as a supplement. So we don't expect that we'd be able to replace the data we're not getting. So I think in job, in employment space, there's some pretty good substitutes, less so in inflation space and in economic activity space. And also they're just, they're different private data providers use different universes and different levels of rigor in their data analysis. So, we're looking at lots of things, and we're going to make our decisions according to the FOMC schedule. But I think it will be a lot better once we start getting, for example, the September employment report is going to be a very important report, and we're not on track to have that. There would still be time for us to get that. We will get, of course, the September inflation, CPI and PPI reports. So that's a positive. But we don't comment on fiscal matters, but from our standpoint, we'll start to miss that data, and particularly the October data. If this goes on for a while, they won't be collecting it, and it could become more challenging.
Yeah. You used the term gold standard, and you didn't mean it in this context, but I'm going to pivot here because there's a question from the audience that's getting a lot of upvotes. So one of your predecessors, Alan Greenspan, used to view the price of gold as an indicator of inflation risk. So in that context, how do you view the rally that we've seen in gold? And if you want to throw in Bitcoin, you can comment on that too.
I'm not going to comment on any particular asset price, including that one. And I think we think of inflation as driven by fundamental supply and demand factors, and it's not something we look at actively.
Okay, fair. The September projections, we saw revised GDP growth projections revised upward for both 2025 and 2026. Now, sometimes it's just an issue-to-issue thing, but how do you reconcile that projection of stronger growth with what we're seeing in terms of a likely weakening labor market?
So even subsequent to the September SEP, we've seen economic activity data which are surprising to the upside. And as I mentioned in my remarks, so you do have a bit of a tension there between the labor market data that we see, very low levels of job creation, and yet people are spending. So economic activity is strong, and it's we're going to have to see how that plays out. Right now, of course, we're not getting any new government data on that, any new federal government data on that. But it does create, you know, of course, if economic activity were stronger, then that would tend to support labor market activities and hiring. So we'll have to see how that works out.
All right. Another topic that has permeated the conference over the last 2 days has been AI. So as the Federal Reserve, like all of us, grapple with the implications of generative AI, what plans are in place to assess its long-term impact on productivity, implications for labor markets, and overall economic stability? And does that present any new risks to monetary policy or financial stability?
So you're right. We're doing what other people are doing, which is, you know, reading all the things that, I mean, so many researchers are working on AI now. It's just amazing. And so we follow all of that. We also have people at the Fed who are doing lots and lots of research on AI. And, you know, in terms of, it's just such early days to be looking for the kind of things that will happen. So, you know, the question of productivity, you know, it was Robert Solow who said that technology is showing up everywhere but in the productivity data. So this could be the same kind of thing where it's there, but it takes a long time kind of to show itself, because you would think of another big technological advance as potentially raising productivity, but I think it's early to say that we're seeing it. Also, you're seeing, I think some researchers have found effects on hiring from AI for entry-level people and for coders and things like that. So there's probably some of that out there, but it's just so early to say what it will be. We also monitor very carefully what public companies are saying. Increasingly bold statements from mainly large private companies on things that they think they can do across their whole business area with AI, and either, you know, sort of freeze hiring where it is or reduce hiring. And you know, I think we're pretty aware of what the potential outcomes are, but the range of potential outcomes is very broad. I will say, in terms of what the Fed can do, you know, we deal with supply and demand. You know, we have an interest rate, and we also do regulation, that kind of thing. But if what's needed is greater education and skills, I mean, I've always liked the model that you know, technology can work for everybody as long as everybody's getting the skills and aptitudes they need to use that technology. This is Golden and Katz, you know, their work, which they actually spoke about at Jackson Hole this year, but it's a 20-year-old book that they wrote. So we can't do that. That's not something the Fed can do. We also can't address the potential societal disruptions that could happen, you know, potentially, you know, if there's really significant job loss. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of, I mean, we're the least of it. There are potentially really significant implications for people in the labor force. And I think we're all speculating about what those might be, but it's only the beginning of this story.
Thank you. Looking at some of the other questions that are getting upvoted, and you can get as far into the weeds as you want, but you know this is where people want to go. So let me try this one. As you think of the appropriate level of reserves in the system, what indicators are most important? Is it the price of money, so repo levels, or the volume of borrowings from the Fed, like the discount window, and so on?
So we have a nice spider chart and 5 main indicators, one of which is sort of repo levels. And I think overall what they're showing is that we're still at ample reserves. Abundant reserves. We're still at abundant reserves, meaning above our goal of ample reserves, a little bit above ample reserves. So, but we're beginning to see, you're starting to see a little bit of tightening in money market conditions, particularly repo rates have moved up. And those are the things we're going to be watching. So we think we're still at abundant, and we're, you know, the pace of runoff is now very, very slow. So we're going to be watching all those factors very carefully. And we're not so far away now, but there's a ways to go.
Okay. I think we're not going to get away without addressing this one, so I'll try to, again, group some of these together. First, there's definitely appreciation from the audience and your ability to try to remain above the political fray. And I think also, and as in your remarks, you said gradually and predictably, and that sounds really nice right about now. But with that ongoing scrutiny of the policy decisions of the Fed, what measures is the Federal Reserve taking, and are you taking, to ensure and demonstrate the continued independence in setting monetary policy?
So the main thing we can continue to do is to do our work the way we've always done it, which is, think really carefully about evolving economic conditions and the evolving outlook and the balance of risks, and try to make good decisions to best serve the American public, and then explain those decisions and talk about them in a way that makes sense and is grounded in the data and our overall approach. I think we're going to keep doing that, and as long as we're doing that, people will be able to tell. If we start doing something else, I think people will be able to tell that too, but that's just not something we're ever going to do. We're always going to keep doing our work. We don't engage in back and forth with people. It's just not, that gets to be political sort of right away, so we just do our work and do it as best we can. I mean, overall, I would say the Fed comes through the last, if you think about it, go back to the beginning of the global financial crisis. We've had 2 world historical crises, back to back essentially, and the U.S. economy, it's been quite a ride for the U.S. economy and for American citizens, but we've come through it as well or better than any other country in the world. And we had to innovate and did innovate. There was really no choice. We can look back now and as I did today, and second guess ourselves, which is only appropriate. We've been doing it for 10 years. Since I got to the Fed 12 years ago, we were already doing a lot of that. So that's an ongoing process. But I think if you take a step back, the Fed isn't a government agency that does a good job for the public that it serves, and that is our only goal. And I think we do it pretty well. Don't look for perfection. These are close calls that have to be made in real time. But I guess that's what I would say.
It's fantastic. And in that context, then, internally to the FOMC, how important is it that you have consensus on it? I mean, we're economists. We understand the value of spirited debate, but is that important in terms of communicating the results and the decisions of the committee?
I mean, consensus is great, but I mean, the most important thing of all is to get it right. Mm-hmm. And that you come to places, not very commonly, but sometimes you come to places where people are going to have different views, and this is one of them. You have a situation here where literally inflation's above target and gently rising. The labor market is subject to pretty clear downside risks. What do you do? How do you think about that? That's not a problem that you face very often in central banking or in the economy. And people are going to have different weights and different risk aversion and different risk appetites on those things. It would be kind of surprising if you had no debate over those things. So we have a healthy debate going on. I think it's very healthy. I think the meetings that we've been having are as good as any we've had, in terms of people sincerely, giving their absolute best argument for their positions, but they're different positions. That's, I mean, when I was an investor, I always felt like the most dangerous thing is if everybody agreed on something, because you need someone to come in and try to explain why this is a terrible idea. Hopefully somebody really smart. And that would give you the ability to really test your thinking. So I think that's a healthy discussion that we're having right now. And I'm not at all surprised that we have people across the board. I do think we also, as an institution, do try to come together around a central answer, and that's of course part of what I try to do is find an answer that will attract as much support as possible.
Absolutely. I know you probably won't want to comment in great detail on global conditions, but there are a few questions around that and what that implies for U.S. monetary policy, and also just looking at the interest rate differentials between the U.S. and other advanced economies, and how long that could persist, and is there a risk there?
Sorry,
the interest rate differentials between the U.S. and other advanced economies.
Yeah, I mean, we set interest rates according to, the place where our economy is domestically, taking into account the international aspects of our economy. So again, it's not surprising. I mean, you could name many, many factors, but for example, tariffs are clearly more disinflationary for countries that are subjected to them, and they're more, I won't say heavily inflationary, but there's some inflationary pass-through to consumers from countries that are putting tariffs on. So there's a very different monetary policy response potentially just in that. So, I think we need to set, as every other central bank does, they're setting rates in their, whatever their, remit is geographically, and they're going to be different answers. It's not unusual.
So we have a large number of young economists in the audience today. Could you talk a little bit about, as we look back, and it's a momentous award, it's a nice time to reflect. If you looked back on your early career and your early goals, how do you think that young Jerome Powell would view where Jerome Powell is sitting today as the chair of the Federal Reserve?
Surprised. No, I would say, so what I would tell young economists is, you've chosen a great profession, a tremendous profession. You're getting the tools to analyze public policy and what works and what doesn't work, and what should be expected to work and wouldn't, and why. And also, what's the state of the economy? And guess what? It's not just hard, it's basically impossible. But it's a very, very difficult thing, but it yields itself up over time. And it's just an incredibly important subject that carries the capability to do really good things for the general public, who may not feel great gratitude toward economists, but sometimes. But no, it's really important. You've made a great choice, and I would say, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Agree. Okay, we'll do a little bit of a lightning round here. We have about 5 minutes left, so I'll ask a bunch of questions that you may not want to get into great detail on anyway. Some of these are pretty straightforward, but so we talked quite a bit about labor markets, but we have not specifically asked the question about the effect of immigration policies on labor supply. How restrictive do you think that current policy is, and is that something that will just
current immigration policy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me start by saying that we don't have a view on immigration. It's not our job to have a view. So we take that as completely, it is what it is. We take it as it arrives. More, I'd say, stronger policy than most people had expected. We've seen very sharp decline in growth of the labor force and in people entering the country, and yeah, I think you're only beginning to see the strength of that policy too. There's more expulsions; those are rising, and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a big economic factor. So that will mean fewer people to work.
Here we go again. Another one of your favorite fits, ruined by a phone.
That they're just having a hard time finding people. You don't see it in wages or anything like that at this point. You don't see, at least in the aggregate, you don't. But yeah, it's going to be a really important economic fact because that's new people who come into the workforce. They create their supply, but they also create demand. They create their own demand, and again, from our standpoint, we're just our job is to achieve maximum employment or maximum sustainable employment. And that will depend both on the supply of workers and the demand for workers.
Back to the balance sheet, some questions, again, I'll kind of try to group these together around mortgage-backed securities and housing affordability. Again, not directly part of the dual mandate, but would the Fed ever look at any specific actions with regard to MBS to address mortgage rates or affordability for housing?
The answer is, look, we look at overall inflation and we don't target housing prices. And also I don't know how you would, we would certainly not engage in mortgage-backed security purchases as a way of addressing mortgage rates or housing directly. That's not what we do. We do have, as I mentioned, a very large amount of mortgage-backed securities, and they're running off, but they run off pretty slowly. So.
Fair. Question on the beverage curve. Maybe that's not a lightning round question, but let's try it. So do you think that the shift in the beverage curve is a structural shift or just a blip?
I think it's, you're at a place where, further declines in job openings might very well start to show up in unemployment. You've had this amazing time where you came straight down, and but I just think you're going to reach a point at which unemployment starts to go up, and we haven't really. We may be hitting that now, but it's been remarkable how that line it just comes down, and which has been really a great part of the recovery.
All right. Well, we have just a couple minutes left. I think we'll end with maybe another sort of philosophical question. Michael Barr spoke to the policy conference in 2024, I believe it was, and he gave some advice to economists. What would your advice be to the economists in the room in terms of how we can best serve the challenges that are facing us collectively in this moment?
I'm inclined to say keep your heads up. It's a time when people are challenging expertise, and I think it's a distinguished profession. It's a very high order profession, and you should be proud of your work and keep at it. Ultimately, we're learning about how the economy works and how society works. Our understanding is so basic and so uncertain, really, still after all these years. But you got to think we're making some progress and doing some good, and imposing sort of an analytical framework around the kind of decisions people make about the economy. So I just want to give you a vote of support and say keep at it.
And likewise, NABE supports you.
Are we done?
We're done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Team, heads up. I think Gal's account just got hacked. So yeah, careful. I gotta get rid of all this crap that was posted by her and the ARCU. So please yeah, watch out if she messages you. I think she got hacked. So just a heads up, team. Let me just remove all these things from the Discord. Team, please let me know that you can hear my voice in the chat. What is good? What is good? What is good? YouTube check 1 2. Nice. Tahoe Joe, what's up, buddy? Did you potentially at the, we spoke about the 413 take profit on your NRGB. I know that we still have like a 465 around there, but the targeting on this was pretty good. And I mean, with this kind of momentum, it feels, I got to be honest, right? With this kind of momentum, it does feel likely that this can continue further and further up. Your daily time frame is firing a signal for the upside here. Your 12-hour time is also firing a signal for an upside, So this, you only nice. Okay. All right. Taco Joe, good job on this one. You were holding for a while, right? From the ones, maybe 140s. I think you said 150, maybe. Nice. Good job. Good job, sir. All right. But congratulations to your team for taking this play. I'm not, honestly speaking, this could be a good investment play as well. Maybe this could run into your, $7 to $10 targets in the next few months. But as far as the volatility is concerned, this was the $300 million deal, right? So it met it. It's saying $4. So I imagine that some of that volatility may slow down now that it's within the $4 range. Who knows? But energy, the entry was around 160. Nice. Good job, brother. Good job. But yeah, guys, very nice play on this. Also, just a quick reminder on this, guys, we did pick up some risk here on LAES, and LAES is extremely bullish as well. In fact, I do see a continuation to the upside on this ticker, and this feels like it's got some more upside to go. I don't know about maybe it tries today again. Beyond your 730, I mean, if it tries again to your 750s or 740s, then great. But I think, depending on the market, right, guys, this thing starts breaking above 734 right now. This has a free range all the way up to those 750s. In fact, this is a bull flag formation, and we're going to take a look at ARM right now, guys. Should you have the want to hold this overnight? The target to the upside is roughly 850. We do have a gap that Daya pointed out earlier in the class, and he pointed out the 804 target. Okay, guys, so there is a bit of resistance at that place there. So, but yeah, look at that, guys. It's already running towards that 734 target, 731. So congratulations for you on this play as well, guys. In light of the Ethereum asset moving, guys, I do think that everything has kind of this bull flag going on, man. Wow. So Ethereum and BMNR, these two could make a pretty nice run here soon. In fact, it's been recovering pretty nicely since yesterday and the prior days, right? So your target measured move on a bull flag, Ethereum, this would be 4278.76. Which would mean that, your BMNR ticker would probably run a pretty nice continuation too. BMNR, it's been doing okay too today, team. So the entry conditions were met, and take profits. The first zone to invalidate the continuation is met. The focus is absolutely in. The targeting is just right. So considering that, I think there is a good chance for this thing to continue. Now, moving on from this, guys, observing the ticker ASTS made another new high today from our entries that we put together just about 2 weeks ago. Made almost $100 today, 98.88 on the top side. My goodness. Tahoe Joe, 250% up on your contracts. Let's go. Good deal, my good sir. Okay, so just in case you are curious over the contracts that I'm playing within BMNR, I'm playing the $61 strikes, long calls, and let's see. The expiry is for October 17th. I would probably choose something not there on October 17th, as this is going to be this. It's going to be this Friday. So I would probably choose something further out. Maybe the November 21. And BD saying 328% up on his NRGV contracts. Man, I love to hear it, guys. I really love to hear it. And guys, the targeting also within the ticker FNGR, we nailed that as well. We were talking about potential targets down to as low as 165 and 164. We hit 165 from the liquidity zones. We bounced right off of that, and we've made a high thus far of about 174, which is the focus that we were looking at from last night's thread of analysis. So so far, guys, this is we've met about 100% in accuracy with this move. So very, very good stuff there too. I do expect upside continuation, right? The 20-minute time frame is already pivoted towards that upside with 5 minutes to close. 30-minute time frame, this would introduce a continuation to the upside at the close of this bar, which is just about. It's curious that it's not counting it. Oh, wow. It's been about 4 minutes and it hasn't moved in 4 minutes, right? We haven't had any buys or sells in 4 minutes. It's a bit illiquid right now. So yeah, guys, I do think that this still has upside to go. And I think today maybe we reached that 174, 175 again. With a good push, we could see 176, but I don't know that we can extend further than that. I will say that it does have a 199 daily ATR though. Okay, so if we actually get some crazy news, then this thing could really start expanding and extending towards its typical average true range in a day. So average true range in a day. Sorry about that. Okay. So, sorry guys, and then now continuing, ACHR, guys, this was a tough one, right? This was a really tough one because it passed in light of the whole, black swan and all that crap, this thing just fell way below the targets of entry, of course, guys, and then it's been very volatile, but it is back in its plan. It is back to its original state. So now this thing is breaking out of this range of the resistance range would have been 1280 to roughly around 1288, and this does have the probabilities of reaching a $13 target here. And the $13 target, I am going to have to just adjust a little bit here, guys, and say that it would be 1298. And as we do have some, actually, let me just make sure. Yeah, 1298 would be the resistance here for the local short term. And following that, should we beat or should we extend further upside in the 1298 on AZHR, 1307, 1309, 1311 would be the nice targets to reach here, which would then set us up for a nice continuation. A nice continuation further into the next week. LAES, guys, already it's getting ready to beat its local resistance here of 734. This was the 734 that we were talking about, right? In order for us to get into those 750s, I guess the lowest target would be around 746. So 746 to the local resistance would be around 757. So good stuff on this, guys. I love that you guys did risk on. And I love that you are gaining on the day. So pretty banging plays thus far. So now that we know where we are with all of this, guys, and now that we saw that the SPY actually did what we were potentially expecting, right? A little inverse of what we meant, but still the upside nonetheless. Oh my goodness, which is being led by a few other tickers, guys, including Google, the efforts of Meta, that could turn around and add. There's some good news coming out on NVIDIA, so NVIDIA could pull back to its could pull back its mean reversion and then continue its merry way up after that pullback. So just heads up, guys. LAES is really knocking on that door right there, guys. Okay, heads up. This was the 30-minute close, and right now, where's George K? Is he in here? George K, this would be an okay time to consider positioning here within XRP. Okay, so the 30, what was it? The 250.56, you're just about there now. And should it continue to oh, you got it? Nice, perfect, good job. I was going to tell you that just in case it continues, then we might be able to see something, 240, 970, like 240, like it's basically 250, so it doesn't matter. So I think you're good. All right, so perfect. Dea, you coming in super duper differently today. I see a new suit, a haircut, a new tan. Good job, sir. But good to see you here. And Devil Dog, let's see. It cranked today also. The LAES partnered. Oh man, dude. LAES. What was the group again? LAES. We had the preparation of Rocket Lab. We had the WeCan token, and now this one that you're talking about, WKE. Well, actually, you did mention it before. And Rocket Lab, RKLB. RKLB, I think if it didn't do anything today, it might be either tomorrow or soon. But that's also getting ready. That is very much getting ready for some nice moves. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at ticker ARM. And I'm sorry, guys. I know that you asked me about that a while ago. But yeah, ARM, let's see. I had it right there. Okay. Perfect. Hang on. Just need to make sure, you know, I'm playing with you. So I got to take care of the deal here too, guys. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. There it goes. There it goes, guys. LAES bursting above 734. It's at 738. It just made a 739 target. This would be that opportunity for this asset to run into that 746 target, 745, 746. Let's see how it does. We have oh, you know what? I think we have a 3-hour closure coming in, or a 2-hour. Yeah, we have a bi-hourly coming in soon. The bi-hourly would be at around 10 minutes, so like 9 to 12 minutes, right around there for the retrace. So this might actually speed up. I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure, but and if it decompresses early, that's a bigger probability for the upside. So this, yeah, this is getting some signals for continuation here, guys. This is looking really good. Really good. Man. Okay. I'm going to speak very clearly here, guys. If it reaches your 746 to 751, you may get a pullback here. You may get a pullback here. Okay. And that pullback would be worth, I don't know. I can't say officially. It could be 724 to around 734. Okay. So it's really wide right now, guys. The average true range is absolutely just, I'm sorry, the bid and ask. I feel this thing is like expanding like crazy right now. So yeah, well, look at this. The hourly time frame is expanding like crazy. 17 minutes to close the hourly. Same with the bi-hourly. And yeah, I think that was just about it for the immediate short term, or the traditional candles. Man, it's a lot of head shake here, guys. Okay, so what's that, Devil Dog? You're showing us something? Let's go ahead and take a look. So that says, let's pop over here. Seal SQ, and we can announce collaboration to develop post-quantum KYC, that's your security measure, to secure client data for the financial industry. That was announced today. This was announced today at 10 minutes after the, well, sorry, Devil Dog, are you Eastern time or where are you? Wait. Oh, Thought Zeus posted it. I forgot. We're Thought Zeus. You were Eastern time, right, buddy? Yeah, no, I remember you speaking about that, but I'm asking what time this was posted, because that's likely the reason why this thing got in Central time. Okay, that was right. That's that'd be 7:40. 7:40 might 6, 7, 8. It was at 9:40 Central. Oh, that's weird that it tells you. Oh, okay. That's silly. Okay, got it. All right, good. Well, that's good to know. But yeah, this is likely why LAES started running like a freaking madman today, and it still got upside, guys. So we're positioned right now, so we're good, right? We did end up going against the chart, just to remind you guys real quick. Against the chart, we ended up doing option number, it looks like we did option number 1. No, actually we did option 2. Let me bring this in a little closer. Oh, right. Yeah, it was option number 1, guys. Option number 1 was the retrace right into these targets here, 609. What was about 612 and 616. So that was the entry conditions on the first 5 minutes before this thing just exploded to the upside. And now we're currently sitting near those highs right now. And I think that we may actually get the burst to the upside one more time here. And this is going to be the preparation to break out from the 757. I'm thinking, guys, that there's an 804 buy daily, right? Dea pointed out an 804 buy daily gap. So it is a soft one, but it is one nonetheless. 737, guys, we're moving up. So if that is the case, 804 may be a pullback. And I'm not sure if that 804 would be the pullback to actually validate the break of 750, the 756 top. If that's the case, then fine, it's okay. It'll be fine. But yeah, I'm expecting the targets to the upside, guys. Yeah, roughly like I think I said like 915-ish to roughly around 850. We still got a long way to go. This is very good stuff, guys. ACHR starting to move up right now too. Good job, Devil Dog. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna leave this here. In fact, I'm gonna put an alert on LAES as soon as we start. First of all, breaking out of this 739, and I'm gonna put the alerts. The second alert as soon as we get to the 748 target. Should we reach that again? But it feels like it is, as we are, this feels like a 10 or 15 minute time frame bull flag here. This would be the retrace of the 50%, load up the bulls right down here before that continuation to the upside. Measured move is 2 different targets. And I'm going to give you 3 different targets for the bull flags, okay? This is degen target number 1. This would give you a target of roughly the 754, otherwise 756 and 750. So that would be the split. Very nice. And the other, here we go, guys. It's moving, man. Look at it. Okay, here we go. This is going to be the non-degen target, normal bull flag measure. This would give us a target of around 751. Yeah, that's the range. This is giving us the range overall. So just like this here. These are the 3 targets. 53, 57, 50. Okay, now this is one. Okay, well, I mean, we got the targets here, the zone, but that's not even the one that we could reach. We have a larger time frame bull flag breakout here, and that's this one right over here. Let's see if we can kind of hone it. I think it's the 12-hour time frame. LAES 739 break. Let's go. It's at 740 now, guys. Look at that, man. Yes, sir. Okay, let's measure this. Bull flag breakout, measured move on this gigantic play. Still holding 740. 1042. Which, by the way, yeah, that would be your it's suggesting to top out here, guys. Hold on. I need to catch it. It's just too small of a wick. 11 flat. So that's yeah, we're looking at 951 to 11 flat. Huge volatility. ACHR is moving, guys. Here we go. Yeah, Yeah, about 902 to about 11 flat is what we're saying here. That should be it right there, guys. Okay. And Thought Zeus, sorry, what were you showing me? What the heck? Dude, this is a squeeze play? I didn't even know that was what this was. LAES is, guys, the calls are getting bought up like crazy right now. The IV is increasing without the price moving, by the way. We are in the whoa. Yeah, this is pretty cool. We're on the these are the $8 strikes, November 21. Long call. Yeah, this is getting really volatile, guys. This thing is picking up pace. ACHR is bursting above $13 now, guys. My goodness. Let's go. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, man. I think we're getting another run in the overall markets. Yeah, we are. Look at that. Look at that. The SPX is making a new day's high, 66.80. Let's go. It broke out of the resistance. Yeah, this is so freaking cool. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This is your SPX breaking above major resistances here. LES has traded 330% of its daily average today. 88,000, man. I'm so glad we positioned long on that, guys. That is so cool. Thought Zeus, Devil Dog, thank you guys so much for this was teamwork, man. Let's put together the targets. Let's put together the catalyst. Let's put together the ticker. Let me chart it. Let's go. What an amazing run this has been so far, team. Heads up, we are gonna get the bi-hourly close in about 8 minutes. This is roughly when this starts pulling back, and yep, exactly. That's that's right in that pocket. It happens, guys. It is what it is, right? But it's all good. LAES is still having trouble breaking the 740, but the IV, the calls are getting so damn volatile. They're getting purchased like crazy right now. It's maintaining their upside value. ACHR new high, guys, 1303, 2% up on the day. My goodness, man. I'm getting so distracted right now, guys. Okay, so let's see. What's happening? Why are we talking about ARM, guys? November 28th, $8. Okay, good job, brother. Explosive for sure, bro. Well, yeah, they would be sympathy runs. Awesome stuff, man. Guys, speak to me. Why are we talking? I mean, this is kind of a dangerous thing for ARM. I'm not going to lie. I guess let me just see it. I need to keep an eye on it. Okay, immediate short-term up, 5-minute time frame. Cascading into the 10, 15, 20, 30 total. In about 5 minutes, depending on where this closes, there could be a $3.39 upside. That puts you at 176-ish. Let's see. What's around there? Okay, yeah, I see it. 175.17 to just about 176.40. It's written in the stars. It really depends on where the 30-minute time frame closes. But yeah, I think we would get a, this is a breakout play. It's a breakout play. Why? Because this is your resistance up here. And you did have a lot of areas of resistance, so which is why you're getting so much, uncertainty here. I'm not sure that it's done with the downside. I think that as soon as you get the closure of your 30, is it the 30? Yeah. Yeah, as soon as you get the closure of your 30-minute time frame, there could be 72, 60. Is it, this is a very discretionary level and very soft. Like this does not have the properties to really hold. But I would say it would be right about this, right about these targets here. 172.63 to 171. Man, guys, LAES, let's go. No way. Back up, guys, to the 749. My goodness. So powerful, guys. This is the bull flag breakout we just talked about. We're meeting those upside targets right now. My goodness, man. Let's go. So excited for the team, man. Let's go. Devil Dog, love you, buddy. 750, grabbed it. 751, got in. Let's go. Damn. Wow. Look at that, man. Heads up, guys. We are probably going to get a pullback around these times, guys. We're about to close the 2-hour time frame. I mean, anything can happen at this point, right? With this kind of volatility, it could continue upward, right? Which it might actually do. Damn, 52. Look at that, guys. Wow. Oh, wow. But typically speaking, when you're closing 2 time frames like that, guys, when you're closing 2 time frames like that, you usually get a type of pullback here. How exciting, guys. I hope your positions are up. I hope you are in. Look at that, man. Oh my goodness. This is sitting at about 151% IV since we look at that, guys. Let's go. This thing is absolutely pumping. Let's go. Let's go. My goodness. Check that out. Check that out, guys. Right in our pocket. We are right inside this pocket here. We are right in it, guys. Man, honestly speaking, team, I almost feel like I'm just going to let go. Right in here, I'm going to let go about 70% my position. And I'm just, I am just going to do it, right? Because I'm going to take the profits while they're there. Should there be any pullback, I'm going to go ahead and reload and continue on that short-term compound, right? We're going to do a Kelly criterium, right? And there we go, guys. I'm completely filled on that upside. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Good job, everybody. My goodness. Let's go. ACHR still making new highs, guys. Still up there. Okay, heads up. ARM is. I'm sorry. I got to take you away from this, guys. ARM reached our areas of entrance, right? So we are just about there. Damn it, man! Come on. So in that pump, ARM actually dropped harder into this target here. So this was, yeah, it's just right here, guys. This is it. I'm going to tell you now that it probably reaches again. Okay, so just yeah, hold your horses, right? It probably does it again. No big deal, right? There we go, guys. Archer ACHR new high 1304 and going. Let's go. Excellent, man. This is just amazing times, guys. Let's go. Here he goes. Here he goes. Heads up with your arm position, guys. Hang on. You're just about those entries there. And you see that buy hourly. We just opened up the new buy hourly time frame, guys. Yeah, this will start bouncing from around here, guys. Heads up, okay? Yeah, this might still have downside, right? But the typical reaction to this is bouncing from the peekaboo, and the next step, guys, would be that, you know, from the long here, you got to break above the closing valuation of the prior bar and the opening of your existing bar, right? So as soon as that happens, you have the shot for a 173.20, and then you would try to get up to the 173.69 to around 174.06. That's already a pretty big play. All right, so please be careful. Please be careful, okay? No way. LAES is trying it again. Still risk on LAES, guys. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. Please tell me FNGR is making some moves. It's at 171 right now, still up on the day. It looks like it's creating its inverse head and shoulders for a continuation. Screw it. Do what you got to do, man. Look at this, man. NRGV pushing up to 419 right now, guys. It got all the way up to 422. Let's go. LAES is absolutely ripping again, bro. My goodness. Oh, man. These contracts are ridiculous. Guys, we're about to hit that top side of the 757. I don't know what it's going to do there, okay? I'm telling you, man. I'm not sure what it's going to do. Guys, we fucking hit it, man. Come on. Devil Dog saying, hold the line, brother. There we go. We broke above the area of 757, hit 758. Let's fucking go, man. Oh, my goodness, dude. Guys, new highs on ACHR is at 1309. We're getting absolute rippage right now. This is just 100% carnage. Let's fucking go, guys. Good job, everybody. Super excited for your games today. Man, this is the way. This is the way, bro. Let's go. Let's go, man. By the way, guys, I don't mean to, you know, just slam dunk on everybody's faces out on Twitter, right? But I'm probably going to put it and tell them, like, your boy Arca told you. Here it is, guys. ACHR making the 1309, already up to 1310. We're in the pocket that we said we would reach, and we're here, man. There we go, man. Oh, my goodness. 759 on LAES. What is happening, guys? We're just 764. Bro, what? What is happening here, man? When are you taking profits, bro? Like, from this point, I don't think I saw it. Guys, I don't see any resistance to like 850 or the 804 target. That's, oh my goodness. Damn, what a banger. Let's go. Oh my goodness, man. ACHR absolutely ripping, man. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I'm going to, from ACHR, I'm going to pull out 80% that position now. Bro. Oh my goodness, man. I'm going to take out 90%, guys. Oh, man, come on, partially filled. Relax, fool. Take it, damn it. Come on. There we go. Oh, goodness. All right, LAES, guys, I'm going to take out another 10% of the position here because why not? Here we go. slash 35%. Took it. My goodness, man. Well, no, she's not done, but I'm done for the day. I can reload at the bottom again. Oh my goodness. Tahoe Joe selling 33% of the bro, let's go. Here it goes. Look at it again, man. 768 and we're still risk on, bro. Oh my goodness, bro. Look at that. 769, my dude. This is ridiculous. Bro. What is this thing even doing, man? Wow. Squeeze them. Let's go. Yeah, this was absolutely something else, man. Really, really, really something else. So cool, man. Oh, yeah. For LAS, there could be two potentials for this. To reload, there could be a bottom side of around 750 to maybe that, literally this target here, 750 to 57. So the thing is that if it reclaims structure, then this would, you know, it'll try, it'll try to get back down here at 733s and 736, which honestly speaking would be amazing. You know, and that's typically, you know, it's just, it broke out of these, both of these areas so far. So people would think that at this high, this would be your filling zone. But I gotta say that my discretion is really favoring this. I would say roughly at that 734 to about 739. So heads up on that, team. ACH charges dropped from 1312 or whatever it just did, 1304 now, guys. So this is why we take profits. This is why we remove it from the table. Make sure to remain delta positive, right? All good in the hood. There you go, guys. I think this may be the potentials for risk on in the next day. Yeah, I think I'm going to, I'm going to adjust it just a little bit here, team, because there is a liquidity bottom on this that does have high confluence. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that right about at that 733. So what that's doing, honestly, is just, it's giving us a gigantic zone, which means high volatility, right? So this, we just put it right back there, right? And from here, we put our targets, in. This is going to be your 736. We have a top side of 739, bottom side looking at around 733. So we just wait for the price action to drop. We're likely going to get some bounces from the areas of around 757. Your local highs could be 50% the range from this, what was it, the 770, whatever that was. That could be a resistance, right? This is an area to bounce just a little bit. Of course, that can reach 755 too. But reclaiming the structure right inside of 748, that's where we're going to start to kind of slide down a little bit. This target right down here, 744, validates the upsides of around 748 to roughly that 750, bring it back down. And I think we might actually get the actual targets that we were looking for. Congratulations, team. Very good stuff on this play. And it's not done, right? It's definitely not done. This is just your pullback here to validate what we just broke out of, which is this here. Let's see if we can get it, guys. If we can get it, awesome. I'm gonna likely play the same contracts and see what's up, right? So yeah, and then ACHR, just so you guys can see what's happening. This also is pulling back from its high here, guys, already coming back down. I'm thinking that ACHR may get a pullback, but this one would be a little larger than life. You know, there's soft supports everywhere, like 1285 and 1292, even the 1298. But if we're looking at clusters, and it probably wants to actually validate a cluster, this thing might actually make its round trip all the way back 50% of your day. 1240, potential 1241s around there for re-entry again. The only thing to salvage this from a continuation to just absolute rubble down there would be in here, like your 1276 to around 1262 hold, then that'll prevent the price action from reaching your 1240. It's 1241. Heads up on this, guys. Yeah. So let's see what's up, guys. Let the price do its thing. Be very careful out there. And I think we're set up. But for today, guys, we have a buy daily closure coming in. Sorry, was it a buy daily? I think we had we had a bunch of we have a buy daily closure coming in. We also have a 4-day coming in. We have like a weird one, like a 7 or 9 day, then another like freaking 14 day, 28. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a bunch of time frames happening here, guys. So I would I'm not you, right? There's no way I can speak for you, but I will remain very, very lightly exposed to the market over the night. Very lightly, because I can't tell, right? I can't tell what's going to happen here until we get more data. So that means that I would need another maybe 7 hours of trading. So for me to determine what could be happening into that near-term future. Okay, guys. But guys, I got to run. My little boy is just hovering behind me. He's probably hungry. I'm going to give him some food. We'll get to the, we have, what day is it today? We have the Taco Tuesday. Oh yeah, we don't have class tonight, so we might be able to get to our videos and analysis a little earlier. Hopefully I can get the, hopefully my little boy is not too, whatever, right? But all good, team. I really appreciate you. What's up, mama? I really appreciate you guys coming in. We're nailing just green after green after green days, guys. I'm really excited for that. I'm really happy for you. And if it is at all helping your families and yourself, then that's really all that we can ask for, right? But yeah, let's go ahead and close up shop, team. Please, we need you, says BD. Devil Dog, I love you, buddy, and thank you for everything. Everybody here, man, you guys are so amazing. So any questions, guys, reach out to me, and please consider to extending your education with me, guys. These classes are going to be starting here pretty soon all over again. So happy Torito. Love you, buddy. Good to see you again. George K. Love you, bro. You be safe, okay? And Jen, I love you so much. You be safe, okay? Anything you guys need, you just reach out to me, okay? I'm just going to be here with my boy. All right, team. I wish you well, and we will speak later, Gators. You take care, okay, team? Lioness, I love you. Be safe. Take care, team. Adios and... adios.